Hello, hello, hello. Here we are once again, at it again, time and time again. This is Brian K. McNeill, the Paul B. Now, I have really been enjoying telling you guys these stories. And for the past few weeks now, I've been telling you useful fiction stories at 9 p.m. And tonight I got a story, but it's not fiction. It's actually true. This actually happened to me in my lifetime. It's the story of the little white girl and the blood wings. The little white girl and the blood wings. And I'm ready to get into the story right away. So let's go ahead and cue the music. Hey, yeah, come through, everybody come see. Story time with Pop B, yeah. If entertainment is what you need, story time with Pop B, yeah. Interesting, entertaining for sure. Stories for adults, parents to entrepreneurs. Got you laughing, you won't have a good time. Still educational, this is what you want now. Come through, everybody come see. Story time with Pop B, yeah. If entertainment is what you need, story time with Pop B. Let's go. All right, I'm going to tell you this story. Now, when I was a 19-year-old man, young Brian McNeill, 19-year-old man, no positive role model that I would lean on and ask me questions and all that stuff, I made a 19-year-old decision. And the decision I made was I was in aviation in the Army, and I was in a long school, and the school was about to wrap up. And they told us everybody in aviation, when they graduate, they're going to go to Germany. And when you go to Germany, you're going to be there at least 18 months, a year and a half, before you even have a chance to come back to the States to visit your family and friends. And at the time, I was madly in love with a girl who stayed at UNC Charlotte. And I learned that if I went airborne, I would be stationed at Fort Bragg, which is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is a couple hours away from Charlotte. So I decided to jump out of planes so that I wouldn't go to Germany and be away from my girlfriend for that long. If I had to do it over again, I would have went to Germany, but that's what happened. But so I decided to go jump school. Now, jump school is where you learn how to jump out of a plane and with a parachute and land. And it's a 4 week long class. And it was the most difficult training I've ever been through for 4 weeks. Now, I'll never forget this, but you volunteer to go to jump school. And in my beginning of my class, it was 702 soldiers that signed up to start. We had 702 soldiers attempting to graduate jump school. And the graduating class was 135 people. Started with 702 and ended up with 135 people. That's all that graduated. Okay. Now, how do they do this? Now, the school is designed to make you quit. They give you several opportunities every day to quit. So they ask you all the time, anybody want to quit? And there's always a few people would say they want to quit. They had enough of that. And you could respond, hell no, black hat, we're not going to quit. They wore black hats. The drill sergeants wore black hats. We called them black hats. The very first day, now there were men and women there. The very first day on the very first exercise. Now, this was in August at Fort Benning, Georgia. 100 degrees outside, hot. The very first day. Now, they got some rules in jump school. No walking unless you're inside of a building. That means if you're outside at all, you have to run wherever you're going. So if you're going to go to breakfast, for example, you have to run from your barracks to the chow hall, run there. And then when you get to the chow hall, there's a chin-up bar at the door, right outside the door. You have to jump up, do chin-ups to pay your way in. Start out with 5, ended up at 25, I think is what it was at the end of the 4 weeks. So you run to breakfast, do your chin-ups, and then you go into the chow hall. Now, inside the chow hall, there are several black hats the whole time, and they were designed to hurry you up. They were expediters. So as soon as you walk in the door, hurry up, get your food, get out of here, hurry up. And the food was terrible. So you only get one pass. So the food wasn't good. And I basically lived off a box cereal, a quick box of cereal, a quick thing of milk, wolf that down and get out of there. That's what I ate for breakfast, like for 4 weeks, just one box of cereal. That's all I had time for. As soon as you get your food, this ain't no restaurant, get out of here. They yelling in your face, making you eat fast and get out of there. So you get up, get dressed, run to breakfast, chin ups, go inside, get yelled at to hurry up, and you get out of there, and within minutes, you're out of there. And then you get out of there, then you run to your PT area, physical training area. Now, when you get to physical training area, the formation area, you got to go into formation first, where you stand in rows before they take you to PT. Now, before you go into formation, you got to do push-ups. Started out with 10, then went to 20, then 25. Then by the time we graduated, everybody had to do 50 push-ups. So you run to there, then there's a box you have to go into, and everybody do their push-ups. And then they go into formation and stand at attention until someone told them what to do. Okay, that's how it was. For 4 weeks, no walking outside. So you run to your formation area, do your push-ups, and then you run to your physical training area. Now, once we did that, the first day, when you finally get to physical training where you can start doing your exercise, the first thing they had us do, the men, this is the only time I think they separated the men from the women. So they had the women over there doing one thing. All the men, they had us stripped from the top, from chest up. So we had to take off our T-shirts. We had on brown T-shirts, take off our T-shirts and put them over there. And you had on boots and BDU pants, battle dress uniform pants, the heavy khaki pants. So they put us in a sawdust pit, a huge sawdust pit, the first exercise. And so they marched us into the pit. Everybody's in the pit in a line. They said, right face. Everybody turned to the right. And then they said, bunch it up. Now, bunch it up means you put your bare chest on the guy in front of you's back. And the guy behind you, he puts his bare chest on your back. So everyone's touching chest to back. Hot. You're in a sawdust pit with loose sawdust, about 2 inches thick of loose sawdust. And then you're touching each other's chest. And they say, first exercise is going to be the side straddle hop. And you have to say, the side straddle hop. Now, the side straddle hop is 4 count jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3. That's the first exercise. Now, you're touching someone's chest, and they want you to do jumping jacks together. Now, the first day, we did the first exercise bunched up. We did 300 4-count side straddle hops. 300. Now, at this time, you got all these men in this huge sawdust pit doing 4 count, and there's dust kicking up. You're sweating, dust is kicking up, and the sawdust is kicking up too. So it's like a cloud of sawdust in there, and you're doing jumping jacks, 50, 60, 70, 100, and you're sliding up and down each other. You're trying to be in uniform. It's miserable exercise. And you finish it, and when you finish it, they say, fall out. That means you get to get out of the pit and catch your breath. And then they say, anybody want to quit? And there was a bunch of people who say, I'm quitting this. So they're trying to make people quit. They ask you several times a day, anybody want to quit? There was always people that would quit. So I made it through. So then you finish that, you put on your T-shirt, and they kept you wet. So you had to they have like these rocks, like these water and rocks on the ground, and they keep hosing the rocks. So there's like a puddle of rocks, a puddle over the rocks. So you have to run to the rocks and roll through the rocks so that your whole body is wet. Your clothes are wet. You're like wet the whole time, okay, because it's hot out. So you get your T-shirt wet, your clothes are wet, and you're running all the time. So we're going through this training, and then they're teaching you how to land, how to hit the ground. You're supposed to hit the ground like a banana, like your feet and knees together, your toes, your shins, your thighs, your lower back, your back, like a banana hitting the ground. Boom. That's how you land the first day, okay? Now, you're in formation a lot, so you get to know the people. You see the people. You're in the same spots all the time, running all the time. And it was very difficult. It was very hard for me. Very often, I had the temptation to quit too. But I didn't quit because I wanted to graduate, for one thing, because you get extra pay for jumping out of the plane. You get to wear a cool red beret or maroon beret. But a few rows ahead of me, there was this little white girl, blonde hair, long blonde hair, that she wore in a ponytail that came out the back of her cap, okay? Now, I would see her. Now, that was the last time we weren't together. But I would see this girl a few rows ahead of me doing everything we were doing. And it was killing me. My back was hurting. I was miserable the whole time. but she was doing it, and her face, she never looked like she complained. I never talked to her, but I saw her. So she was running all the time. She was doing all the push-ups that we had to do, everything we had to do all the rappelling and climbing and running all the time and being yelled at. This little white girl was doing it too. I was like, man, I know she's going to quit. There's no way she's going to make it. But this little girl, she would get knocked down and get up, knocked down, get up. And she kept getting up and, oh, I'm running and everything. I was like, dang, that little girl is tough. So she kind of like became my inspiration. And I'm watching her, particularly when it was hard for me. I'm seeing this little white girl and she's doing everything I'm doing, but she's doing it with enthusiasm. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm saying to myself, if she's not going to quit, I'm not going to quit either. And even on particularly hard days, it was tough, but I didn't want to stop because I saw that little white girl doing it. If she going to do it, I'm not going to quit either. So you make it through. I think I was 165 when I started. When I graduated, I was 155, shredded, muscles everywhere. I could run all day. 19 years old, in incredible shape. And everyone ended up in incredible shape. No running, doing lots and lots of push-ups, lots and lots of climbing, lots and lots of sliding down things on ropes, and holding yourself up like this, like grab hold of some straps, and then kind of like hold yourself up off the ground for a long time. Abdominal work. They lay you down on the ground and make you do these things where you lay down flat on the ground, lift your feet and knees up like this, and they go do these abdominal exercises. Go 1, and then 2, snap up, and then 3, 4, and you're doing that with your legs, and your arms are out, and your head is down, and you're doing this you're doing this over and over again all day long. And what happens is when you're doing those things, everybody starts sliding forward inch by inch. By the time you finish, everyone has grooves of where they were on the ground. So, and I was watching this. So now when graduation came, on graduation day, everybody jumps 5 times the same day. You get your gear together, you get ready to jump, then they put you on a plane, they fly you over a drop zone, and they put you out of the plane, and you jump out. And then once you jump out, you go walk all the way up to the truck. They put you on the truck. They put you on another plane, and they fly you up, and then you do 5 jumps on your graduation day, 5 times. Difficult to do. And I'll never forget my first jump. When they open, everybody's scared on their first jump. Now, you've been practicing for 4 weeks on how to land, how to do this thing, and everyone is scared. And that little white girl, again, she was few people ahead of me. And the doors are open and the wind is all in the plane. And I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to do it? First off, you're going to do it because the black hats are going to make you do it. If you don't jump, they're going to kick you out. And we all knew that. They were going to put their foot on your back and kick you out. But we're still afraid. I was afraid to do it. So when her turn came, they make you don't get to walk on the plane. You have to do what's called shuffle, where your feet never leave the ground so that you're less likely to trip. So you have to slide your shuffle to the door. And then when her turn came, she didn't hesitate at all. She just jumped out of the plane. Hold your stuff together, jumped out of the plane. Now, jumping out of a plane and the way the Army do it is a very, very violent experience. Imagine this is your whole body. My arm is your whole body. When you first jump out of a plane, with the way the Army does it, as soon as you jump out of a plane, the plane is moving fast and there's a lot of wind. You're up in the sky. So what happens is the second you get out of the plane, the wind and the plane draft throws your body all around and you're fighting to keep together, keep tight. And your body's going like this. Your body's going all like this. And you're trying to keep it together. And you have to count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4. Now, the way the military planes go, they pull your chute open for you because you're not that high. You're trying to get from the plane to the ground as fast as you can so the enemy can't shoot at you while you're in the air for very long. And so you can hit the ground, roll over, pop out of the chute, and then shoot back at the enemy. That's the plan. Okay? So this little girl, she jumped out of that plane like no problem. So when my turn came, I had to front too. I had to look like I wasn't afraid either on my first jump. I jumped out, went through all this stuff, and my chute opens. Now, first it's very, very violent, and then it's very peaceful. When your chute gets open fully, it goes, and you feel like you're lifting higher than the plane. Almost, you can see the plane lower than you because you kind of lift up. Like, whew. And they train you what to do, grab your risers and do all that kind of stuff. And then when we get down, everybody has to walk a long way to get to the trucks. And then in the trucks, everybody's telling the story about their jump. Everybody's telling their stories. So until you do that. Now, After you've done your 5 jumps, 5 times in the graduation day, everybody's exhausted. And then you're at the parade grounds. You're sweating, you've been grueling, you've been beat up on, your body's been battered, but you're graduating. Now they have this thing go down. They put metal wings on your chest, and they have these 2 prongs in the metal wings, and they put these caps over them. So what they do is when they come to you, they pull your t-shirt out, poke the holes in it with the metal prongs, and then secure it, and then you salute them and all that kind of stuff, right? But you have the option of what's called blood wings. Now, blood wings is what you say, you have to tell them, blood wings, black hat. And what the black hats will do is they'll put the prongs in your t-shirt, they will not put the backs on, and then they will punch you in the chest so that the prongs puncture your chest and make 2 permanent holes in your chest for the rest of your life. There'll be 2 puncture wounds right there, and that's called blood wings because it's going to puncture your chest, you're going to bleed a little bit, and you're supposed to stand up as fast as you can. Now, she's a couple rows ahead of me, and when the black hats came to her, she yelled, blood wings, black hat! I'm like, what? Now, the black hat that came to her was probably 6'4" black guy, chiseled, big. And she yelled at him, she wanted blood wings. And I could not believe she said that. He pulled no quarter. He held no punches back. He punched her as hard as he could. He said, secured in her t-shirt, and she yelled blood wings. He reared back and punched this girl on the wings, on her chest as hard as he could. She rolled back like a couple of rows. Boom! She rolled back a couple of holes, scrambled to her feet as fast as she could, ran back to her position in line. She rolled into the rows behind her. He hit her so hard. And she took that punch, and she got up and ran back to her spot and snapped to attention. Said, "Hua!" I was like, oh my God, this girl, oh my God. I watched her do that. When my turn came, I didn't yell blood wings. But what it taught me was I needed something to fixate on to make it through. And that little white girl became my hero. She was my inspiration. If she wasn't going to quit, I wasn't going to quit. And I've held that story for my whole life. There have been many times where I've stuck to stuff when people have quit because I remembered the little white girl and the blood wings. That was my inspiration that time. And I harkened back on it. That little white girl's not going to quit. Brother Brian ain't going to quit either. So this has been the story of the little white girl and the blood wings. This actually happened to me. I caught this story as a moment where I had to find some inspiration. I never talked to this little girl. I saw her. And I called her the little white girl because she wasn't big at all. She was like a tough piece of leather, though. But she inspired me to make it through. By the time we graduated, there was only 135 of us that graduated. But we know what we had all been through. So that's my story of the little white girl and the blood wings. I hope you found inspiration in this story. I hope the story meant something to you as well. God bless you. Have a beautiful rest of your night.
Hey, yeah, come through, everybody come see. Story time with Pop B.
Yeah.
If entertainment is what you need, story time with Pop B. Yeah. Interesting, entertaining for sure. Stories for adults, parents, and entrepreneurs. Got you laughing, you gonna have a good time. Still educational, this is what you want now. Come through, everybody come see. Story time with Pop B.
Yeah.
If entertainment is what you need, story time with Pop B.
Let's go. All right, story time with Papa B. I hope you enjoyed this story. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, listening to my story. I'm going to be back here tomorrow night with another story. Please feel free to share these stories, share these lessons. I think they make great bedtime stories for you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your comments. God bless you. Have a beautiful rest of your evening.